Hello team, how's it going? Welcome to Combat Ready HQ. Welcome to a new video. I just want you to picture this. You are a soldier, or let's say a corporal, platoon sergeant. You're in Afghan, Iraq, say that kicked off again, or say we get sent to Israel, Gaza, or even Russia, or China kicks off sometime in the future. That's a possibility. World War III kicks off. You're getting shot at, contact has just happened. You need to get your blokes to run across the ground. They're dug deep, digging in with their eyelids. And you just don't shout. You go, I know it's scary, but please, can you just run across that open ground while there's mortars, artillery going off? You've got a sniper pinning us down. There's heavy machine gun fire, but I know you're scared. Please, can you just run over there? I'd be extremely grateful. Because that's what it sounds like the British Army are doing. They are swapping shouting for empathy when training recruits. I've got a future video coming out very shortly on the British training is phase 1 training is changing to the Soldier Academy. So they are changing how they are training the soldiers. That has come out and my video will be released very soon. But I saw this come up, so I'll give it a watch to see if it's as bad as what I think it might be, but what I hope it isn't, okay? Swapping shouting for empathy. I don't think we should be like the Americans. They've got their shark attacks. They've got their way of doing it. It works for them. But at points in the army, we're not like any other job. You need to shout at recruits and soldiers, okay? I'm not saying it's going to be constant, but we'll see what this is about and just hopefully it's not as bad as what we think it is. Let's get into it.
The sound of instructors' feedback is familiar to personnel past and present who've gone through military training in the UK and overseas. But in the British Army, that's all changing.
Yeah, it's not quite like Bad Lads Army anymore. It's very different. The instructors actually go through a two-part training before they even come here. So they've got their AITC, which is a long course where they get all their prerequisite qualifications. Then they've got their DTC, which allows them to teach competently and confidently in front of the recruits. And that's often reflected on the drill square. There's no longer this, like you say, shouting and screaming all the time. Although there will definitely be one authoritative voice. Other people can walk around, can tell people quietly to get in step, or just give recruits the sort of help they need in a more comfortable and more better learning environment.
So historically, I think recruits may well have been slightly scared of their instructors.
So you should be.
That's not what we're trying to portray at all. It's
in a way.
Easy. So joining the army is not an easy process, but that experience should not be something that people don't enjoy. The army's evolving. The climate and culture that we're trying to inculcate in basic training is one of which is investing in the recruit.
We're not trying to get rid of people by any shape or form. We're trying to develop people and make them into soldiers. If they're here, they're clearly suitable. The Army's deemed them to be suitable to be a soldier. They've passed their selection, their aptitude.
Debatable.
Our job is then to get them across the line.
It is a lot different from when I went through. When I went through, it was just get belfed with information, and then from there doing a test or assessment. There's a lot less pressure on the recruits, which then gives them room to breathe, think, and take in information at a steady pace.
Let's just stop there. There's a lot less pressure in the environment. So one of the points that I put on my CV, and it's a very big point, and I've gone through quite a few interviews since leaving the army, and it's actually helped me, is I do well in high pressure situations. Because ever since I've been in the army, I was put under pressure, a lot of pressure, whether that's just on the drill square, whether that's finishing a lesson and only having 5 minutes to get ready for the next lesson, whether that's just change of adaptability. You're doing something like you're doing section attack, contact drills, and then you get attacked from another position. You've got to think fast. What am I going to do now? Or you get IDF, you're on patrol, something happens. Or you're just walking around camp and someone dicks you last minute, or it's a Thursday, it happened to me. Thursday, we need someone to go on a course. You two are suitable. I've got a kid. I didn't have a kid. The other bloke said, I've got a kid. I can't just go on Sunday. So straight away, I had to change my plans, cancel me to leave and get down to a course on Sunday, pack my kit as soon as possible, revise, get ready for it and go. Everything's about pressure. Learning to deal with pressure is what soldiers come out with it's one of the best skills and experience soldiers come out with, and they're getting rid of that, right? They're saying we're not trying to get rid of everybody because they pass selection, because they're suitable. No, they're not. That's rubbish.
So instructors are less scary, but does that mean the course has been softened?
Yes.
At no point are we changing the standard. This is all about now getting the recruit to that standard.
No,
Yeah,
it's
not
not
soft at all.
Yes,
It's
it
very
is.
much the same standard. It's very much just the approach in which we unlock a recruit's potential. That's the thing that's changed. Using technology, being more empathetic, but by no means have it become soft. Firm but fair is the way I like to put it.
Oh, joke.
Tom Sables, Forces News.
That's an absolute joke, because I was an instructor at Pirbright where that was. It was called Phase 1 Training, ATR Pirbright, Army Training Regiment Pirbright. It's now called Soldier Academy, and it was getting soft then back in 2015 to 2017. So God knows what it's like now. Look, I'm not saying we need to scream and shout like the Americans do, right? Yes, you need to be empathetic. You don't need to sympathise. You don't need to give them sympathy. Okay, you can be empathetic because you've been in the situation, you understand it, but you need to put them under pressure, right? Yes, it might work for some people, but what are you going to do when they get to regiment and they go on these massive exercises, or they go on ops where it's high, stressful, precious, stressful situations, and they can't deal with it because they need time to think and develop, right? Like I said, the good thing about being in the army is being able to think faster than you think, being adaptable and dealing well with high, stressful situations, working well under pressure, right? And it's not true that everyone passes selection, they should be in the army, they're suitable to be in the army. No, because I've seen many people in my time at Pirbright that passed selection that shouldn't have been there, and we tried to get rid of them because they were not suitable, and they wouldn't, because the CO would turn around going, they're passing, we need the numbers, right? Recruitment's even worse than back then. Retention's a hell of a lot worse back then, so it's all about numbers, right? And it's really sad to say, and I'm sorry to say it, right? That's just how it is. I've been there, I've seen it. Retention and recruitment is an issue, and they said it when I was at Pirbright, and they need to change it back. The Soldier Academy, like I said, I've got a video coming out soon, actually looks good, okay? Make it better, right? They get iPads, they get more weekends off. You know, it's about trying to learn themselves, but you still need to put them in high pressure situations. There's nothing wrong with shouting at someone in training if they're doing something wrong, right? You haven't got to shout and be rude to them and bring them down, right? But you can shout so they learn, and then say, look, I'm really disappointed, instead of just going, oh, what's wrong? We'll get it better next time, because they've only got 13 weeks to come out and try and be the best soldiers possible. And trust me, it's not long enough with what they need to learn. It really isn't long enough, 13 weeks. It needs to be longer, right? This whole firm but fair, you're not their parents, right? You're there to break them down. This is what you're meant to do. You're meant to break them down, right? From that civilian, because a lot of them come from homes where their mums and dads did everything for them. The amount of recruits had come through where literally they were 18, 19, 20, mums ironed their clothes, washed them, fed them, cleaned their rooms. They literally did nothing, and they've got to come in, and it's stressful straight away, right? It changes you as a person, but it makes you a better person. From when I joined the army to when I left just AFC Harrogate in that year, I changed completely. If you spoke to my parents, my friends, my family, I changed completely. Even after the first 6 weeks, I was a different person, but I was a better person for it, right? This whole firm but fair, let's emphasize. Yeah, when I did my Army Record Commanders course, we were digging holes every night, no sleep, moving location. Right? The instructor was like, yeah, look, I empathise with you, but I don't sympathise, because I've been there, done it. It's a job that you got to do, right? It's shit. Get on with it, right? Yeah, you don't need loads of people screaming on the drill square. You've got that one authoritative voice who's doing the drill, right? You can go around, go and change step, like, why are you doing that wrong? That's fine. But this whole swapping, shouting for empathy when training recruits, like, let's not put them under pressure, is absolutely ridiculous. It's the biggest joke I've ever heard, because that is what makes you a great person, honestly. Right, getting rid of high pressure situations, stressful situations all the time, right? And they are lowering the standards, because ask anyone, even from when I joined the army to people joined in the 70s, 80s, the standards were lowered slightly, right? And they've just been lowered again. It's changed massively. Even when I was there in 2015 to 2017, I promise you it was, this guy's passing, we need the numbers. He's not suitable, sir. He's still passing. Make sure he passes. That is what it was like. So I think this is going too far now. I don't think you need to scream and shout. It's going too far. What do you think? I think you still need to shout and put them in those high pressure situations. You don't need to be derogatory. You don't need to bring someone down. You don't need to call them names, right? But there's nothing wrong with screaming and shouting at them if they fucked up, or if they're not getting it. It's just ridiculous. I think all you're going to do, the army's going to be, in 10 years time, God knows what the army's going to be like. You know, comment below if you agree, disagree. If you're in the military now, have you seen it? You know, what's your thoughts on it? I think, yes, we need to change how we teach. Don't get me wrong. You need to change how you instruct because people are changing. But you can't go too soft. It's not a school. It's not a normal 9-to-5 job, because when they leave, right, one day there's going to be some sort of mass war. Something's going to kick off. Like it's going to happen. We are pre-war, and you are going to send these recruits to war. And if they've not been drilled in enough, they've not been shouted enough, they've not been broken down and built back up into the soldier that you need them to be, you're going to have massive issues on that battlefield. I'm not saying they're completely wrong with how they change it, because I think some of the changes they made are brilliant. I think it's good. You do need to change how we teach. We don't we don't have the same sort of generation as we did in the 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. We do have a different generation. But this whole just swapping shouting for empathy when training recruits is just absolutely ridiculous. But let's know what your thoughts are. Comment below. Tell me if I'm wrong. If you think I'm wrong, happy to have a debate with you. If you think I'm right or if you've seen it, then comment below as well. Remember to like, share and subscribe, and I'll see you soon.